Hello students, this is Mrs. Jennifer De Cruz from Leelavati Lalji Dayal High School and College of Commerce. And in today's Science 1 class students, we shall study chapter number 7, lenses. So before starting with this interesting chapter students, let me tell you all that the total weightage of this chapter is 6 marks with option and 4 marks without option. So let's begin with this interesting chapter. So students, before starting with the chapter, let me tell you all that we shall study the following concepts. First, lenses. Second, the ray diagram for refracted light. Third, sign convention. Fourth, the working of human eye and lens. Then fifth is the defects of vision and the correction. And the last one is uses of lenses. Okay, so let's begin with the first topic, and that is the types of lenses. So students, you must have always, you must have seen that lenses used in the day-to-day life, okay? Some of the examples are lenses which are used by old people for reading, then lens which is embedded in the front door of the house, okay? The lens which you see the watchmaker attaches to his eyes, okay? The spectacles, the telescope, etc. So all this we've already studied in the lower classes, okay? So basically students, what is lens? A lens is a transparent medium bound by two surfaces. The lens which has two spherical surfaces which are puffed up outwards is called a convex or double convex lens. And this lens is thicker near the center as compared to the edges. The lens with both surfaces spherical on the inside is called a concave or double concave lens. And this lens is thinner at the center as compared to the edges. Let's move on to the next slide, students. That is the images that are formed by convex lens for different position of objects. So there are 6 positions which you can see in the diagram. So the first position, when the object is placed at infinity, the position of the image is at focus f2. The size of the image is called as the point image, and the nature is real and inverted image. Second, if the position of the object is beyond 2f1, okay, so the position of the image is between f2 and 2f2. The size of the image becomes smaller and the nature is real and inverted. Third position, when the object is placed at 2f1. So here in students, the position of the image is at 2f2. The size of the image is the same and the nature is real and inverted. Next one, students, if the object is placed between f1 and 2f1, the position of the image is beyond 2f2, the size of the image is large, and the nature of the image is real and inverted. Next, students, if the position of the object is at focus f1, then the position of the image is at infinity, the size of the image is very large, and the nature of the image is real and inverted. Last, students, if the position of the object is behind f1 and f2, so here the position of the image is on the same side of the lens as the object. The size of the object is very large and the nature of this image is virtual and erect. So if the object is between f1 and O, then you get a virtual and erect image. Okay. So let's check on to the next slide. Here in students, you can see the images. Okay. Just now we've studied about the images that were formed by convex lens for different position of the objects. So here the case 1, which I showed you in the box in the earlier slide, when the object is at infinity, that time you can see in the diagram, the position of the image is at f2, which is in the center. Second case, when the object is beyond 2F. Okay, so you can see in the diagram the position of the image becomes between F2 and 2F2. The third case, when the object is at 2F, you can see in the diagram that the position of the object is at 2F2. Fourth case, students, if the object is between F and 2F, so herein you can see in the diagram that the position of the image is at 2F2. The next one, students, if the object is at the F, okay, that is at the focus. So here you can see the position is at infinity. Next one, if the object of the distance is lesser than F, okay, that is between F1 and O, that time, students, the position of the image lies on the same side of the lens of the object, okay. Let's move on to the next slide, students, and that is the sign convention. So here, students, what do you understand by the term sign convention? So students, according to the Cartesian sign convention, the pole P of a spherical mirror is taken as the origin and the principal axis is taken as x-axis of the coordinate system. So here, students, the object is always placed on the left of the mirror and all the distances parallel to the principal axis are measured from the pole of the mirror. Then all the distances measured to the right of the origin are taken as positive, while the distance which is measured at the left of the origin are taken as negative. Then students, the distance that is measured perpendicular to and above the principal axis is always positive. Okay. The distances that is measured, students, which is particular to and below the principal axis and is always taken as negative. And the last one, students, the focal length, okay, of a convex mirror is positive, while that of a concave mirror is always negative. Okay, so this is about the sign convention. Let's move on to the next topic, that is the lens formula. Okay, so here, in students, you can see there are three lenses which are there. So we will study the three concepts that are there into the lens formula. So first one, students, the lens formula is the formula showing the relation between the distance of the object, that is U, and the distance of the image V and the focal length F is called as the lens formula. Okay, so 1 upon V minus 1 upon U gives you 1 upon F. Then the power of lens, students, the capacity of the lens to converge or diverge, okay, incident rays is termed as your the power. It is termed as the power P, and this power of a lens depends on its focal length. The power is the inverse of its focal length F, and F is always expressed in meters. The unit for power of a lens is the diopter, that is D. Third one, students, is the combination of lenses. So if two lenses with focal length F1 and F2 are kept in contact with each other, the combination has an effective focal length given as 1 upon F is equal to 1 upon F1 plus 1 upon F2. Okay, so let's move ahead, students, with the next topic. That is the working of the human eye and lens. That is, we'll study about the cornea, the iris, and the pupil. So, students, there is a very thin transparent cover, that is the membrane on the human eye, and this thin transparent layer is termed as cornea. So, light enters the eyes through it, okay, and the maximum amount of incident light is refracted inside the eye at the outer surface of the cornea. So students, there is a dark fleshy screen behind the cornea, and that is called as the iris. So the color of the iris is different for different people. Okay, there is a small hole of changing diameter at the center of the iris, which is called as the pupil. So what is the working of the eye? Let us study that. So students, you're in the pupil, okay, controls the amount of light entering the eye. And if the light falling on the eye is too bright, the pupil contracts, while if the light is dim, it widens. So on the surface of the iris, there is a bulge of transparent layers. There is a double convex transparent crystalline lens just behind the pupil. And the lens provides small adjustments of the focal length to focus the image. And this lens, students, it creates the real and inverted image of an object on the screen inside the eye. Okay, so this is how the human eye works. So let's move on to the next topic, students, that is defects of vision and their correction. Okay, so in general, there are three types of refraction defects. Okay, so here in students, what we can say is the first one is nearsightedness, which is also termed as myopia. Okay, so here the in this case, students, the eye can see nearby objects clearly, but the distant objects appear indistinct. Okay, there are two reasons for this defect. Basically, the curvature of the cornea and the eye lens increases, and the muscles near the eyes cannot relax, so that the converging power of the lens remains large. So here in students, the eyeball elongates so that the distance between the lens and the retina increases. So this defect can be corrected by using spectacles with concave lens of proper focal length. Okay, so students, basically the minimum distance for the normal eye at which an object is clearly visible without stress on the eyes is called as the minimum distance of distant vision. So basically it is 25 centimeter for normal eye. So this is what we need to remember. Let us see the next slide, students, and that is the farsightedness or hypermetropia. Okay, so your students, in this defect, the human eye can see distant objects clearly, but it cannot see nearby objects clearly. So here, there are two reasons for farsightedness, students. First, the curvature of the cornea and the eye lens decreases so that the converging power of the lens becomes less. Second, due to the flattening of the eyeball, the distance between the lens and the retina decreases. And this defect can be corrected by using a convex lens with a proper focal length. So hypermetropia, which is far-sightedness, students, in this, here in the human eye can see distant objects but cannot see nearby objects clearly. Moving to the next slide, students, is presbyopia, the third defect. So generally, the focusing power of the eye lens decreases with age. The muscles near the lens, they lose their ability to change the focal length of the lens. So the near point of the lens shifts farther from the eye. And due to this, old people, okay, cannot see nearby objects clearly. In such a case, students, bifocal lenses are required to correct the defect. Okay, so these were the three defects, that is myopia, hypermetropia, and presbyopia. Now let us see the uses of concave lenses. Okay, so basically here in students, concave lenses is used for medical equipments, scanners, CD players. Okay, these instruments, they use laser light. Next, the peep hole in the door. Okay, so there is a small safety device which helps us to see a large area outside the door. So again, there we have concave lenses. Next, students, is spectacles. So to correct the nearsightedness, this concave lens is used. Then in torches, the concave lens is used to spread widely the light produced by a small bulb inside the torch. Next one, it's also found in cameras, telescope and microscope, wherein these instruments, okay, they use the convex lens to get a good quality image. A concave lens is used in front of the eyepiece or inside it. Similarly, students, we have certain uses of the convex lens as well. So it is used in a simple microscope, okay, compound microscope, telescope, camera, projector, then optical instruments, okay. So because it makes basically these instruments, they use convex lenses because there's a simple microscope which is used by the watch repairers, the jewelers, okay. So compound microscope is used by the, basically it is used to observe the bacteria, the cells of the microorganisms. And the telescope that is there, students, is used to observe distant terrestrial objects or astronomical objects like planets, comets, okay. So this is where the convex lens is used. So moving towards the next slide, students, is the persistence of vision, okay. This is the last topic of this chapter. So what is persistence of vision? So students, the image, it remains imprinted on our retina for 1/16th of a second after the object is removed. So the sensation on the retina persists for a while. And this is called as the persistence of vision. So basically the image that, is imprinted on the retina after the object is removed is called as the persistence of vision. The rod-like cells, it responds to the intensity of light and it gives information about the brightness, the dimness of the object to the brain. The conical cells, students, they respond to the color and give information about the color of the object to the brain. Some people, they lack conical cells responding to certain colors, and these persons cannot recognize those colors or cannot distinguish between different colors, and these persons are said to be color blind. So to jot it down in simple words, students, persistence of vision means the image that remains imprinted on a retina for 1/16th of a second after the object is removed. Okay, so this sensation, it persists for a while, hence it is called as the persistent of vision. Okay, so with this, students, we've completed the chapter. Thank you.